affecting us.
Mr. Mawabola, first and foremost, tell us how many applications did you receive from matriculants for next year, 2017, thus far?
Well, we're still counting. You'd recall that the cutoff date is midnight today, and so far we have over 350,000 applicants that have came through our website, and added to that is about 98,000 that came through the manual system, that is through fax, through post, and through email. And we're still counting. We still do have about 64,000 that are still incomplete, which we do hope that by midnight or by tomorrow, those would be completed.
Now, how many applications were you expected for 2017?
Well, our numbers really are heavily reliant on university enrollment figures. You'd recall that we fund students that are admitted at university. So in a year, NSFAS would fund about 400,000 students. That includes first year and returning students. So based on the number of students that have been admitted to study in 2017, and they have applied and qualified for NSFAS, NSFAS will fund those. There wouldn't be students that are sent back home because there's no funding.
Now, what do you think could be the contributing factors for the current crop of matric learners not applying for funding for next year?
Well, when we did the analysis yesterday, we actually realized that everyone just waited for the last minute. The number on our website yesterday doubled. In fact, today it's even worse, and we really are contemplating as to what do we need to do. We need to extend the closing date because the system is getting much more slower and slower every minute because of the rush. But I think the contributing factor, if one has to really speculate, could be that because of the fees must fall movement, our institutions were shut down, which were very, very instrumental in helping us collecting manual application and mobilizing grade 12 learners and schools and coordination and so forth. And when we noticed that actually that applications that comes from rural areas are very poor, we then had to rush, speak to NYDA, speak to the Department of Social Development, speak to some of municipalities and some private sector to say, open your centers so that grade 12 learners can apply. But also by large is really this thing of saying we'll wait for the last minute and really apply, or hoping that an application date will be extended.
Could we take this perhaps as the low level of responses, perhaps the sort of a vote of no confidence in NSFAS, you think, or is that a bit far-fetched?
Well, I think that is a bit far-fetched. I'll tell you why. Because previously NSFAS used to rely on universities to receive and assess applications for NSFAS. It is for the first time now that we are doing it ourselves. We are cutting the middleman, and I could imagine that the process has changed, and grade 12 learners, sometimes they get confused as to, do they go directly to NSFAS offices or do they go to universities? So I think that could have added into the low number of applications received.
Now, you did mention that there might be the possibility of extending. When are you going to take that decision?
We will take that decision this afternoon. We are meeting at 2 to look at all numbers of applications received, but also anticipate the number of applications that are still coming through post office, because obviously they would not reach us all by today. And what do we do? Do we just close? But I think the critical factor here is that if we delay in closing the application, we will not have sufficient time to assess all the applications received. We require closure of the system in order to start evaluating. And the evaluation means verification of income for every applicant, even all the supporting documents submitted. We still need to go back to them and say, your ID is missing, your affidavit is missing, and that requires a lot of work. And that's why NSFAS took a decision that during this December, will not be closing, it will be business as usual.
What innovations has US NSFAS done for 2016-2017 in order to avoid the shortcomings of previous years, like, for instance, late payment to service providers, NSFAS inability to collect funds from previous students that have been assisted?
As we speak, we have deployed our officials throughout the country. What they are doing, they are helping our merchant. Merchant would be service providers that assist our students with accommodation, food, books. We are embodying them into the new system so that come January, our students can go anywhere where they want to purchase anything and use their cell phone vouchers to purchase that. That requires onboarding of merchants. So we're still working on that as we speak. And of course, we are also going to be dispatching teams of officials in January at every university to help those that are coming through the university to do registration. You recall that our new system then requires our NSFAS students not to pay registration up front, which means that in January, universities, when they open next year, must allow our NSFAS students to register without paying any kind of amount. But they would require to tap into our system and look and verify if their students are funded. That's why we are deploying our officials to man those systems at each and every university. And come to issues of collecting outstanding debt that is owed to us. We're actually working very hard to intensify that program. In our analysis, it's about 14 billion that can be recovered, and about 70% of that is in the private sector. And people that are employed in private sector are not paying, and we're making a call to a private sector to say, when we come knocking at your door as NSFAS, allow us, when we give you a database to look at people that are funded by NSFAS that you have employed, allow us to do so, because it will help us to actually generate more funding to fund more students. SARS has allowed us to actually request non-financial information that is very, very latest, that will make us easier to make contact with all our debtors. Even those that are self-employed or they are on a contract, we will be able to trace them now due to the latest information received.
I like your work, because I think that is where the crutch of the matter is, where students have to pay back what they have been funded for. Larson, but we're running out of time, but just briefly, your message to matriculants for today.
Our message is that if you cannot be able to apply online, please fill in the manual application form. Do not be stuck on the online system. Fill in the manual application form, attach all the supporting documents, and send it through email to apply@nsfas.org.za.
I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
That was the National Student Financial Aid Scheme NSFAS spokesperson, Kagiso Mamabola, urging matriculants